All right, guys, we are moving on into the next section today. At the end of class, I'll let you guys see your quizzes. They're graded. I just have not put them in the grade book yet. Majority of the class was. I think they were all A's, but one. I think they were really good.
Was it you the one not A?
Yeah.
Where did I get it?
I think it was a B.
Okay.
All right, guys. So we are moving into the rest of this chapter. Jonas, put it away, please. Guys, the rest of this chapter is a lot of formulas. Now, I will get you, probably tomorrow, I'll get you guys your formula sheet. There are, I believe, 6 formulas. You don't have to memorize them. I will give you a formula sheet. You can use it on the test, not a problem. But you do have to know how and when to use each one of them, which is the trickier part. What? No. No, your last big grades going in the grade book are the quiz you took yesterday and projects, which I've neither which are in the grade book yet. Hopefully today they'll get in there, though. Yeah, finish that project.
I know.
10:40.
Forever. My brain.
But they're really not.
But we don't have to
All right, guys. So for today, though, we're talking about different types of savings accounts that earn simple interest. Today's big thing is simple interest, okay? It's only one formula today. It's the easiest of all formulas. So some vocab first, because we have so much vocab in here. First one is a savings account. An account in which the bank pays interest for the use of your money that you deposit in your account. You guys know that when you put money in a savings account or a checking account, that money's not like sitting at a box with your name on it, right?
No, they use it.
They use it. They invest it. They
give money.
Right, that's why you get interest, because they're using your money. Yeah. But I think some people like envision like there's a box with your name on it and like all your money's just sitting in there. It's really not. They still do. They still do. Yes, they do. They still have $2 bills. Ask for a $2 bill. They still have them. Yeah, they still have them. My kids get them every year from their aunt. Every year she gives them $2 bills. They have so many of them. What?
All your money on $2 bills.
Yeah, you can. They have them. They still make them.
You can, but usually they don't have enough of them.
Elena. Okay. Yeah.
Gas station do that.
Yeah. Like when you cash a check, you can be like, hey, can I get that back in 20s, or can I get it in 1s or in 5s or whatever you want. Whatever you want. Yeah, that's dumb. Like when I have my garage sale every year, I'll go in and be like, hey, can I get $50 in $1 bills? That way I have change. Yeah, I have money I can give change. So yeah, you can go to the bank. They'll do that. Devin? Depends on what kind it is when you set it up. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's probably not a regular savings account then. Probably not. Could be interest. It's probably interest. Is it the type of account you cannot touch until you're 18? Okay, it's not going to be a savings then. A savings, you can go in and take money out anytime. It might be a CD. Okay, but yeah, if that's the kind of account, then it was not a regular savings account. Oh yeah, as long as the money's sitting there, you will. Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Next thing is interest. We've kind of been throwing that word around already. All right, so interest is just a percentage of money in an account that the bank pays. Now, most savings accounts don't have that great of interest rates. They're pretty low. So the type, like, there's different types of accounts at banks that you can get. Like, we're going to talk about a couple of them. Some of them have better interest rates than others. Okay, so we'll talk about the stock market eventually, which we'll talk more about that stuff. So I don't do anything with the stock market. Next is a principal. Principal is the balance in an account or the amount borrowed if you're thinking about loans, because we're going to kind of go back and forth between like money earning interest in an account, but if you get a loan, you also pay interest, right? You guys realize that, right? So like if you borrow money from the bank, you're going to pay back the money you borrowed plus interest. So like they give you interest when they use your money in your account, but then if you borrow money from them, you're going to pay them interest for using their money. So it goes back and forth. Okay. Principal amount though is just the amount of money that's in there like to start with. So like if you go get a loan for a car for like $10,000, the principal amount of your loan was $10,000, the amount that you borrowed. Are you going to pay back more or less than $10,000? More, $10,000 plus interest. All right, simple interest is the most easy formula that we're going to work with. Simple interest is interest calculated on principal using the formula I equals PRT. IPERT is what I always remember that one as. I stands for interest. P is the principal amount, so the original amount that you start with. R is the rate expressed as a decimal, so if it's like 4%, it would be 0.04. And then T is always time in years. Always years. So if I give you months, you're going to have to transfer that to years. All right. So two different kinds of accounts that, Devin, I don't know, maybe you could have had one of these types of accounts that your aunt or your grandma, whoever was, set up for you. First is a money market account. It has a higher interest rate, but it requires a greater initial deposit and higher minimum balances. So this one might require like a $5,000, initial deposit, and you cannot drop below that. So these ones usually get higher interest rates where you can make more money off of them, but it's that old saying, you have to have money to make money. And then there's certificate of deposit, which is just referred to as a CD. Certificate that states a deposit and guarantees the payment of a fixed interest rate after a certain period of time. Deposits and withdrawals cannot be made with a CD. So that could be one, Devin, like you said, you weren't allowed to touch it until you were 18. I know when my aunt passed away years and years ago when I was younger, she had left me a $1,000 CD, but I couldn't touch it for 5 years. So even though I wanted to, I couldn't take any money out of there. I had to wait till that 5 years passed, and then I was able to go in, take the $1,000 out, and then whatever interest it had accumulated. Oh, it wasn't much. I don't know. I was like 10 or 12 back then. I don't remember how much it was now. I remember my mom telling me I had a CD at the bank with money in it, and in my mind I was picturing a literal like CD. In my mind, I pictured like the case for a CD with like money in it, just sitting at the bank. That's like in my mind what it was. It's not at all what it is. But you hear CD, right? It's the first thing that comes to mind. But CDs, so the biggest thing to realize with those is you can't touch that money until that whatever that time frame is has elapsed. So if you're going to put money in a CD, make sure you're not going to need it for a rainy day fund. Okay, it's got to be extra cash. It's a great option though if you want to make sure, like, hey, I'm going to save this. I do not want to touch this money until whatever, and put it in a CD because you can't touch it. Can't. Yeah. So as I'm saying, if you're going to It's like a friend of mine, her and her husband are looking possibly to buy another house, like sell their current house, buy another house. So they've been saving money for a while, and then her husband went without saying anything to her, put like $20,000 of their savings in a CD for like 3 years. She's like, what are you doing? Like if we decide to buy a house before then, you just lost that money we can't put as a down payment. I think it's his way of saying he doesn't want to move without telling her he doesn't want to move. My own personal opinion, but But anyway, so if you're putting it in here, just make sure you know you cannot touch that money. All right, so let's go ahead and go through some examples. We'll start real basic today. So Grace wants to deposit $5,000 in a certificate of deposit, so a CD, for a period of 2 years. She's comparing interest rates quoted by 3 local banks and 1 online bank. Write the interest rates in ascending order. Which bank pays the highest interest for the 2-year CD? What's ascending order? It's getting bigger. Good, it goes from the lowest to the highest. Like, I always think about like going up the stairs, right? All right, so what do we have to do with all of these interest rates? Times it by what? I don't want to multiply it by anything. I want to divide things. Yeah, because right now you have fractions and you have decimals. What's easier to compare? Decimals are easier to compare. So this one's already a decimal, this one's a decimal. So this one's going to be 4 point, what's 3/8? It's 375. So 4.375 is that one. And then that one you probably know, 4.25. So now can you put them in ascending or ascending order from lowest to highest? What's the lowest? 4.22 is the lowest. So 4.22. And then which one? Good. The 4.25. Good. The land savings, 4.3. And then 4.375. So the question asked, which bank pays the highest? The eSave Bank. Now, these banks all have different interest rates. That is true of banks. So don't just assume, like I bank at Huntington. I'm not going to assume if I go to get a loan or get a different interest, or a savings account or something, don't assume that my bank that I always bank at is the best. A lot of times it's not. So anytime like you want to get a car loan, you want to buy a house, anything like that, you want to shop around, okay? Because different places have different offers for you. I know a lot of people bank at Fifth Third. I went with Huntington just because I know they're like across the country, and I get tired of paying that ATM fee if I want to get cash out somewhere. I know I can always find a Huntington. Both of them? Smart. Nice. All right, so example 2. Raul's savings account must have at least $500 or he's charged a $4 fee. So he's got one of those accounts that probably pays a little bit of interest because he's got, a higher minimum balance in there. His balance was $716.23 and he withdrew $225. What's his new balance? So if he had $716.23 and he withdrew $225, right? We need to kind of see what happened here. $716.23 minus $225, so $491.23. Now, is he going to get charged a fee? Yes. So what are they going to do with this $491 balance? They're going to subtract the $4 from there. $487.23. Guys, that's why it's really important when you're setting up accounts for the first time, make sure you're asking those questions. Do I have a minimum balance that I have to keep? I know my account back in the day when I was younger and in high school had a $25 minimum balance. That one was a little easier to keep. I can keep 25 bucks in it. I think my one I have now has a penny, as long as there's something in it. Okay, so just make sure you know what kind of accounts you have so you're not getting charged and they're stealing your money for no reason. You know what I mean? Because that's just silly. Let you know, well, at least it kind of alerts you. But, try to set up your accounts so that you have no minimum balance. Okay? That way you're not losing money. Okay, you must have like a $20 minimum balance. Oh. All right. So it's going to force you to always have something in there. All right. Example 3. Mitchell deposits $1,200 in an account that pays 4.5% simple interest. He keeps the money in the account for 3 years without any deposits or withdrawals. How much is in the account after 3 years? Now, this is the thing that drives me the most crazy with students. Do you see these words right here? So later on, you're going to have 6 formulas that all have different names and stuff to them. This is the most obvious one to know which one it is. And people mess this up all the time. If it says simple interest, you will use the formula that says simple interest. It's the only time you use that formula. If it actually says simple interest. All right, so the formula was I equals PRT. So interest, principal, rate as a decimal, and time in years. All right, so we have $1,200. Which letter does that go to? That is my principal. So the $1,200 is the initial amount, which is your principal. pays 4.5%. That's my rate. Now, it needs to be a decimal. So it's going to be 0.045. He keeps the money in the account for 3 years. That is my time. So the part I don't know is I, which is interest. All right, so this is pretty easy. We're just going to multiply it all together. So 1,200 times 0.045 times 3. We get, good, I equals 162. Did we answer the question? Good, I have to add this. This is where a lot of students stop. They're like, yep, plugged it in, got my answer, I'm done, moving on. Make sure you look, because this is where you get tripped up, you lose easy points. Sometimes I ask how much interest did they earn? And sometimes I ask how much is now in the account. So I mean, that you may have to do an extra step, because he's earned 162 in interest. However, the question wants to know how much is in his account now. Well, he started with 1,200. So he still has that 1,200, but he earned an additional 162. So now he has 1,362. Okay, so just read very, very carefully. That's the hardest thing in this chapter. And some of you don't read anything, you're going to struggle. Okay, you've got to read carefully. So number 4, how much simple interest does $2,000 earn in 7 months at an interest rate of 5%? How do you know you're using that formula? Good, it literally says the word simple interest. I'm going to beat this into you guys so that once I start adding all these other formulas, you don't keep wanting to come back to this. Yes. So I equals PRT. All right, so how much simple interest does $2,000 earn? So what's the 2,000? That's your principal. Do we know the rate? 5%, so that'd be 0.05. It says 7 months. But time is always in years. Very nice. 7 over 12. Because how many months are in a year? There's 12. Good, we're not on that one yet. All right, so 2,000 times 0.05 times 7/12. Okay, you can just type in the 7/12. It's okay. All right, so you're going to find out we get an interest of $58.33. Did I answer the question? How much simple interest does it earn? Yes, this time I answered it just by doing the interest. That's all I wanted to know. It earned $58.33 in interest. What you got to think, it's kind of like free money, right? I literally just sat it in an account, and they gave me money. It's kind of nice. If you didn't need the money, you might as well let it earn you money in the meantime. It's kind of like the stock market. But the stock market can also lose you money. All right, example 5. How much simple interest would $800 earn in 300 days in a non-leap year at an interest rate of 5.71%? Round to the nearest cent. All right. So we got simple interest, right? We see those words. So we know it's I equals PRT. So where does the 800 go? That's principal. Will I always give you the principal? No. Do you think I may give you the interest at some point? Yeah. All right. Rate would be 0.0571. What about time? Yes. 300 days. So there are 365 days in a non-leap year. How many days are in a leap year? Good. 366. Right? So this will help me find the interest? No, I don't think it is. I think leap years, hold on. Leap years are every 4 years. except on years that end in 0, I believe. 24? I think. I'm pretty sure that's how that rule works. Every 4 years except on years that end in 0, I think. Something like that. It's just so that it balances the calendar so that eventually, like, Christmas doesn't end up in, like,
Because
July.
every year is more than actual.
Yeah, it's not exactly 365 days.
365.2 something days.
Right, so that's how they can kind of balance that out so it stays roughly where it's supposed to be. All right, so 800 times 0.0571 times 300 over 365. $37 and what? Good. Did I answer the question? How much simple interest? Yeah, it only asked for the interest. It didn't ask what the balance would be. It asked for the simple interest. Now, guys, this can still work also if you think about loans. I know we're talking about savings accounts, but loans kind of work the same way, where you would like borrow $800, so then you would have to pay back $37.55 in interest after 300 days. Right? So like it can still work the other way as well. Not just money I'm making, but it could be money I got to pay back. Yeah, I don't either, but you know, sometimes they're necessary. You know, like my 30-year mortgage so I can buy my house. I misnumbered, sorry. So how much principal must be deposited to earn $1,000 simple interest in 2 years at a rate of 5%? Now I know I. Very good. I still know it's simple interest. We're seeing those words on there, right? Good. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. You guys are making me happy. You're recognizing it. So how much principal must be deposited to earn $1,000 in simple interest? That's the I. I want to earn $1,000 in interest. Why would you switch it to an X? So my principal I don't know. The rate, 0.05. Time is 2. All right. Okay, hold on. Back up. So right now, all I did was plug in what I know. So we're going to stop. Okay, I just plug it all in. Then, let's kind of clean this up a little bit. I can tell you what this is, right? What's 2 times 0.05? 0.10. And then, to solve for P, just divide. So what does P equal? It's 10,000. So you would have to deposit $10,000 at 5% for 2 years to earn $1,000. Yes. You put an X in there. Did you do anything else different than Lee than you had an X? You did the long way. Mathematically, what you did is correct. I don't know why you would do that, but it is correct. This to me made sense, though, right? I just multiplied and then I divided. Elena divided by 2, and she divided by the 0.5. You want me to answer that? Example 6. Derek has a bank account that pays 4.1% simple interest. The balance is $910. When will the account grow to $1,000? Now everybody stop and think. Hold on. Stop speaking. Everybody stop speaking. Heads up. Raven, head up. Devin, head up. I know. I saw you. I watched. All right. This is the type of problem that people mess up on the most. Take a minute, read through it. Before I even tell you how to do it, I want you to stop and think what numbers would go where. Okay, so we know it's simple interest. Guys, Good. I know everything but the time. However, people still mess this up. Okay? Okay, so I heard the principal was 910. I agree with that, right? My balance is 910. My interest is, or the rate is 0.041. And we agree we don't know the time. What's the interest? It's 90. It's 90. Very nice, Haley. The question asked, when will it grow to $1,000 in my account? I have guys, stop speaking. I have $910. When will my account have $1,000 in it? How much more do I need? I only need 90 more dollars. All right, so guys, that's why I'm trying to point this out to you, but you guys won't stop talking long enough to stop and think. All right? You have to read carefully. I didn't ask when I'm going to earn $1,000 in interest. It's going to be a long time because I only started with 910. But I want to know, when will my account have $1,000 in it? So I need 90 more dollars in interest to make that happen. Okay? So once you set it up, we'll go ahead and multiply this part together. So 910 times 0.041. So 37.31. The only time for these problems you should be rounding is at the very end to the nearest cent. Okay? When you're multiplying stuff throughout like that, do not round that. All right, and then to solve for t, we will divide. So it's 2.41, so roughly about 2.4 years. If it does not specify, at least give me to the 10th. If you round a little further, 2.41, I'm not going to count you off for that. But if you would just say 2, that'd be wrong. Okay? Number 7, Carrie invests $5,000 in a simple interest account for 5 years. What interest rate must the account pay so there is $6,000 at the end of 5 years? So again, stop, read carefully. So right now we know we were using the formula I equals PRT. Let's start with that. I know it's easy now because it's the only formula you have, but when I throw 5 more at you, you have to be able to recognize when to use it. This is the easiest one to be able to recognize. Logan. What equals 1,000? Yes. I'm investing 5,000. When will I have 6,000? So I need 1,000 more dollars. Good. The rate I don't know, and that's 5. So the rate I don't know. Right? I don't know what that rate would have to be. But again, if you set this up with a 6,000 for I, it's very, very wrong. You would need a ridiculous interest rate. Okay? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply 5,000 times 5, which is 25,000 R. And then divide that by the 25,000. If you want to do Elena's way and divide by 5,000 and divide by 5, you can. Oh, I don't want to do anything Elena does. So I get 0.04. What'd you say, Noah? That is 4%. You're right. Yes. But guys, when you get an answer like this, I need you to recognize that that is 4%. Here's what most students will write. They'll write 0.04%. No, not 0.04%. Not going to get you that. All right?
I took the 5,000 5,000, 1% of 5,000 is 200, and then times 5 years is 1,000. No, I did it in my brain, but my
Like I've said about Noah for a long time. Smart, lazy. You're giving Luke a run for his money. Yeah. On the lazy part. All right, guys, questions on this? Do you see, though, the interest, how you had to kind of find that difference between there? And then if you get a 0.0 whatever, you have to transfer that to tell me that's 4%. Okay?